Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really cool old story, a fable about two merchants and a problem that gets, well, really tricky. And, this story really makes you think about something important. What's the actual difference between being wise and just being cunning? Is there a line? Where is it? Let's dig in and see what this old tale has to say. All right, so our story kicks off way back in ancient Varanasi. We've got these two guys, and they decide, hey, let's become business partners. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You gotta pay attention to their names. One guy is named Bandita, which means wise. Simple enough, right? But the other guy, his name is Ati Bandita. That means very wise. And let me tell you, Ati Bandita really believed she lived up to that name. So they go all in together. They put up their own money, they do the work, and they load up a whopping 500 carts full of goods to go sell out in the countryside. I mean, this was a huge deal, and they were total equals in this venture. 50-50, right down the line. And guess what? The trip was a smash hit. They sell everything, they make a ton of money, and they head back to the city, probably feeling pretty good about themselves. But this is where things start to go wrong. Really wrong. So they get back, and it's payday. This should be the best part, right? The celebration. But nope. It immediately blows up into a massive argument. Ati Bandita, Mr. Very Wise, comes out with this just unbelievable demand. He says, look, my name is better than yours. I'm very wise, you're just wise. So I deserve 2 shares of the profit, and you only get 1. And Bandita, the guy who is actually wise, is probably just stunned. He lays it out with simple, clear logic. He's like, wait a minute, we both put in the same money, we both did the same work, so we split the profits equally, 50-50. It's that simple. Well, Adi Bandita knows he's got no leg to stand on when it comes to logic and fairness. So if he can't win fair and square, he's gonna cheat. And he comes up with a pretty wild scheme. I mean, you gotta hear this plan. It's something else. He gets his own dad involved. The plan is to hide his father inside a big hollow tree and have him pretend to be a tree spirit who will settle their argument. The whole thing is a setup designed to look like this divine fair judgment, but it's totally rigged from the start. So he takes poor, unsuspecting Bandita over to this specific tree. And he puts on this big act, bowing and showing all this respect for the Ruka Devata, the tree spirit, who he says will give them the final fair answer. And right on cue, a deep, booming voice comes from inside the tree. Of course, it's just his dad trying to sound all magical and spooky, and he delivers the verdict. Bandita gets 1 share, Atibe Bandita gets 2. So, Ati Bandita is probably smirking, thinking he's pulled it off. He won, but he totally underestimated his partner. Bandita, the truly wise one, hears this and thinks, yeah, no, that's not a spirit. Something is definitely fishy here. And this is key. Bandita realizes that just arguing isn't going to work. He can't just say, that's not fair. He has to expose the lie itself. He has to prove that this whole thing is a scam. And that's a tough spot to be in, isn't it? I mean, how do you prove something is a lie when the lie is hiding behind this magical, mysterious facade? How do you get to the truth when it's literally hidden from view? Well, Bandita's solution is pretty genius and very direct. He figures, okay, if there's something in that tree that isn't a spirit, a little fire will probably make it want to leave. He's going to literally smoke out the truth. So he starts stuffing straw and twigs into the tree and lights it up. And as the smoke starts pouring in and the heat builds up, it gets, well, pretty uncomfortable inside that tree. And suddenly, the so-called divine spirit comes scrambling out of the top, half-burnt, covered in soot, and totally out of breath. And this is the climax, the moment of truth. In a total panic, the father starts yelling, a wise man is good, but an Ati Bandita is no good at all. My own son made me do this. He completely exposes the whole scheme. The plan has, quite literally, gone up in smoke. Okay, so after that fiery confession, we get to the real heart of the story, the big lesson about what wisdom actually is. Now that the cat is out of the bag, or, the dad is out of the tree,
Ada Bandita has nowhere to hide. He's forced to split the money fairly, 50-50. So justice is done, but yeah, that partnership is over. Done. Finito.
And what this story tells us is really powerful. See, true wisdom, it isn't about being clever or being able to pull a fast one on people. It's about understanding cause and effect. It's about being good and being fair. When you put them side by side, the difference is just so clear. Bandita, the wise one, seeks fairness and uses his brain to find the truth. Ati Bandita, the cunning one, just wants to win for himself, and he uses deceit to do it. And in the end, his actions just lead to pain and destruction, even for his own father. So I think the big takeaway here is that being clever for selfish reasons, that's not wisdom. It's really just a trap you set for yourself. It shows that true intelligence has to go hand in hand with integrity. That's a lesson that's really worth taking to heart. And that really leaves us with one last thing to think about, doesn't it? When you get right down to it, is being clever worth anything if it's not honest? Does it really lead to happiness in the end? It's something to chew on. And on that note, we wish you all the very best and hope you find much happiness.